okay? And I'm taken to a particular landing page. Now, obviously, GCL ID parameter is added to that landing page. I bookmarked that page, okay? I came back to the page, from the bookmarked page the next day. I didn't click on the ad, but I came back. Will an extra visit be recorded? Will a visit be recorded if I have actually come onto that page, right? I did come onto that page. Now the GCL ID parameter is also registered there, right? But there is no click on the ad. So that visit is attributed to the campaign within the reports, but there is no click. Okay, so am I making sense when you are trying to understand why there will be more visits and less clicks? Yeah, so that is one. The second is the one that I just discussed about the invalid clicks. So if you tend to compare the invalid click report and the number of invalid clicks that were automatically filtered by the system and compare it to the visits that are showing up in the reports, I'm sure you will be able to correlate them and analyze the data. Yes? See, how the system detects an invalid clicks is a totally different concept altogether. And that is something that's related with AdWords and how that deals with it. Because there are a lot of other reasons, not just the time, but there are a lot of other reasons that go into it. For example, IP address and things like that. But analytics, no, it does not detect that. No, every time you click on the ad, it will not be recorded as a visit. Only if the page,
Not on the ad, in a search listing, I mean that organic listing, if I click and exit, will analytics, record every click as a visit?
Okay, so we are not talking about AdWords data. We're not talking about paid visits. We're talking about organic search visits. See, if you click, that's what I'm saying. If you click on a search link, irrespective of whether you click on a search link or you click on an ad or whatever it is, if you're allowing the website to load and if the code gets executed, the UTM GIF is generated, the code gets executed, a visit is recorded. The whole concept is, has the session started? It all depends upon the session, right? A visit is nothing but an entire session. So, has the session started? Have you allowed the page to load and have you allowed the code to get executed? That's the whole concept. If you allow that to happen, then yes, a visit will definitely be recorded. No. If you're not allowing the website to load, where is the concept of even a visit being recorded in analytics? See, you just try and understand one thing. When you are talking about visits being recorded in an analytics account, the whole concept is the code should get executed. Okay? Right. Right. So you click on a link on Google, the Google search listings. You click on a link on a website. You click on a link on a blog or a banner ad or anything, irrespective of anything. For example, like you said, you click on a search listing. You click on it. You do not allow the page to load. You again go search. You click on it. You do not allow the page to load. How will it even record a visit? It will not. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't get the first part. Mm-hmm. See, that I will not be able to comment on because different analytics tools work differently. Omniture tracking is way different than analytics tracking. It's a separate tool altogether. For example, we would say AdWords tracks data differently, analytics tracks data differently. They're two different tools, and they have their own, ways of tracking data. So I would not be able to comment on if the discrepancy percentage would be consistent across the analytics tools, because I don't think you will be able to actually compare the data from analytics and Omnichannel and come to a definite consensus saying that, you know what, okay, whatever analysis that I have done comparing these two tools may be perfect for the data that I'm seeing. So I don't think I would be able to comment on that bit, because like I said, analytics definitely has a different way of tracking data. And, well, yes, both are analytics tools. The certain things may be similar in both of them, but that is something that I will not be able to comment on. I hope that was a fair thing to do. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, the UTM GIF is getting generated. Right. It's after the code is getting executed. So I'm sure it is definitely, if I get into the technicality of it, then yes, after the onload function is triggered.
So does it really matter if you place the code in the header or the footer, because onload is only fired after the HTML?
Exactly. So no, not really, because we always say that, yeah, sure.
Actually, it's a market standard that has been taken globally, that code should be fired after everything is fired, because pixel is in the bottom right corner of the page. So it is considered that customer comes first if the code is fired or not. The idea is the customer should not face any problem.
Yes, the reason I get his point as to why he asked that question is because we always suggest that the asynchronous tracking code should be placed just above the end of the head tag.
There's a small issue with that. JavaScript has a blocking event, right?
Right.
It plays a lot of scripts on the top. It hinders the performance of the web page. So I was asking, is there any disadvantage in placing the tracking code at the bottom of the page?
I think you actually answered your question. So when you say JavaScripts, you know, if a lot of JavaScripts are installed before, you know, this particular code, it does. So the thing is, as you all know, analytics tracking code is also a JavaScript code. So most often or not, when you have a JavaScript code interrupting the analytics code to get executed, then yes, there will be a problem. So I think that's the reason, that's one of the reasons why we say that analytics tracking code be placed on the head section, so that it loads first, even before you have the other JavaScript codes on your you know, website to track. And we do not want any JavaScript codes to interrupt the analytics tracking code to execute. And I think that's one of the reasons we also say sometimes, just make sure you don't have any meta tags after the analytics tracking code to be, you know, put in there. That's just one of the reasons. So also scenarios where people don't allow the page to load completely. Suddenly, you know, the website is loading and suddenly they find an interesting link and they just click on the link. So they haven't really allowed the page to load completely. And if you happen to put the analytics tracking code at the end, in the body section or just above the end of the body tag, you may not be able to track a visit. So also asynchronous tracking code works well when it is put in the head section. So that's the only reason why the updated version is to be there. Cool? Okay, all right, that was quite a bit of download there. So let's just break for lunch. We'll have a 1-hour lunch break, and then we'll come back for the rest of the session. Okay?
I hope all of us are going to be awake just after a heavy lunch. Right now we'll go through the reports. I'm sure all of you are well aware of how the interface looks like and different reports you already must be using. But we'll just quickly run through what are the different reports you guys can use. So just to understand, what are the kind of reports that you generally use on a daily basis? Anyone? AdWords reports, yes. Apart from the AdWords reports, like for your website performance, do you use anything in specific? Traffic sources, okay. To get an idea of what are the traffic sources or the sources that are driving traffic. Time on site, yes. Okay. Time spent, okay. And you also kind of look at, did you also look at conversions data, e-commerce? Okay. Okay. And we also spoke about real-time reports, right? Anything new that you've seen recently, any specific report apart from probably real-time? Have you seen any new report? Anything? Demographics, okay. And you also would have noticed that most of the terms that were used in the old version, they've been renamed. Do you find that useful? Like you would have seen, it would have been named as content and site content with the previous one, but now you have a category within that saying all pages. That kind of difference, do you see? And initially it used to say, okay, AdWords, campaigns data, now all of them have been clubbed together under advertising section. Do you see any specific reports? So there was, additional to Google Analytics, there was something else most of you, or some of you at least, would have used. Okay, in-page analytics. Other than that, something called as Website Optimizer. How many of you guys have used Website Optimizer? Do you use it anymore? No? Okay. Others? Have you heard of Website Optimizer? Have you used? It's no longer available, right? So what's the other option that is commonplace? Any idea? Experiments. Yeah, precisely. Have you tried them? Okay. So there's a new report called as Experiments report that's similar to the one. Well, there are a lot of, it's a little different from Website Optimizer, but it has the same functionality as a Website Optimizer. Maybe you guys should try that as well. Okay, so just let's quickly run through the report. So first thing, you would see a demographics report. So when you go into the interface, this is how it would look like. You would see the audience section. Here you get the demographics data as to the age, gender, and the interests of the people and the location. What is the other report? So what was the location report previously called? Geographics, yeah. I'm just trying to make sure that you guys are awake just after the lunch, okay? So yes, so new versus returning visitor, that's something that most of, probably your webmaster would be very interested in, right? To see how your website is performing. So that's something you could probably use. So visitors flow, how many of you guys have used that? Okay, I see a couple of hands. How useful is that data? Mm-hmm. Yeah, connecting. Okay, so do you only see from a web page to another page, or is there something segment? I mean, okay, and what else do you see? Do you see, can you segment it by country or region or anything at all? Yeah, you can do multiple variations. So that is a report that you might want to probably play around with, because that's going to give you extensive or exhaustive amount of data specific to your website. So for example, if I want to, let's just look and see if there's enough data for us here in this account. So now I say so by default, if I say all visits data here, So now it's going to throw up a graph like this. How many of you guys have used this report? So if you've not, okay, very few of you. You've seen this report before, rest of you? Have you seen, or how many of you have seen it, or, okay, how many of you have not seen it? Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you asking me if you can, okay. There wouldn't be a specific guide as such, but it's going to give you an overview or an idea. So let's say if you've played around with it, you would see that you can just highlight the option because there are too many arrows going around here and there. So let's say I only want, let's just go to paid search traffic because that is where I'm investing my money and I'm more concerned about that. What I'm going to do is I just tell them the level of detail, okay, okay, moderate amount of data. So now when I just go to this section, I say highlight only traffic through here because I get traffic from all the rest of the other countries as well, right? So I just tell here that, just highlight it from here. And then I'm just interested in only this page, the starting pages. So what I can do is, again, I'll have the same option of me going here and just checking as to what are the other things. So now anything that is highlighted, you would get an overview of where users are moving, and those could be the two parts that are more useful and beneficial for you. Yeah? Does it kind of answer if I have not completely answered it? It doesn't. Okay, we can take it offline and we can discuss that. Okay. So the next section is the advertising section. So what is the level of data that you see here? Purely AdWords data. What sort of information? So you see campaigns data, visits, clicks, and you will see your ad groups, keywords. You have the search terms, the report, and AdWords. What is the report called in analytics? Match search query. Okay. What else do you guys see here? Day parts report, which is, any of you use the day parts report here? Not really? None of you? Sometimes? Okay. So you depend on AdWords mostly, is it? Because, okay. Okay, in terms of the day parts, yes. It should more or less match because, yes, this is purely in terms of, yes, that's totally true because your time zones match, so they should ideally be the same. So then you get your keywords positions report that again is available in your AdWords account. So traffic sources, so this is an exhaustive list, right? Because you tend to get data for all throughout your website, where do people come from, and your referrals, which probably is something that you might be interested in. So sources, this is pretty much as simple as that. But the content section, all pages report is something that you would be focusing on. Yeah, because it's going to give you data from, about all the pages that are being tracked on your website. So if there's any page that's missing, that's like a trigger for you to go and check if the tracking code is installed on that page or not. Yes, you can also ensure that there is, if there are any error pages that are being led, that users are being led to. How many of you use event tracking? Okay. Do you want to, so the rest of you, okay, apart from you, the rest, do you use event tracking, or have you heard, or do you know why it is being used? What exactly is an event? If not, you could probably tell the audience as to what event tracking is.
We also call it virtual tracking.
Okay.
So that you have one landing page, and if someone is clicking on the submit button, your landing page URL is not changing. So in that case, you have to set up a event tracking. So you will place a code, JavaScript code, in your submit button. So through that code, you will track the activity being performed on your landing page. That could be conversion, transaction, lead, submission, sign up, anything.
Do you also want to kind of add anything to that? That's about it, yes. He's pretty much covered what event tracking is. Let's say any PDF downloads. Is there a way for us to track it using the normal regular code that's being placed? No, not really. So we're telling the system that anyone who clicks on this button, track it as an event. So there is a little bit of customization that you need to make on the code. Once you put that in place, it's going to track those events. So most of you would have forms and all of that on your website to ensure, like, you can go back and check if that is something that will benefit you. In-page analytics, how many of you find it useful? Okay. You use it lots? Okay. The rest of you, have you tried using the report? Okay. So the rest, do you want to quickly catch up with him over tea break and figure out, how he gets his client, gets his clients to spend more? You guys don't use it.